recalls hearing that she was visiting martial families for training and deduces that this is why she is here. His fourth brother, Sunwoo Gui, approaches him with a sarcastic look, asking him what he learned in the Patriarch's archive and challenging him to show them his progress. Jin responds in his usual foolish manner, saying it's impossible to change in one day and asking them to leave him alone. Gui ignores his words and throws a powerful punch at Jin, who instinctively raises his arm to block it. Gui is surprised that Jin successfully blocked his punch. Jin feels a sharp pain in his arm from blocking just one punch and realizes he desperately needs to improve his weak body's condition quickly. The other brothers burst out laughing at Gui, mocking that a pig blocked his punch and that Gui will become the new disgrace of the clan after Jin leaves. Gui flares up in anger at this insult and rushes towards Jin with a series of rapid attacks. Jin is forced to block the successive blows, and as he does, he feels that the movements Gui is using for the attack seem incredibly familiar, even though he has never seen them before. At the same time, Gui is shocked as he attacks, and Jin realizes with absolute certainty that the technique Gui is using to attack is one of the Sunwoo clan's techniques. The battle continues as Gui uses the triple cyclone strike technique. As Jin blocks the attack, his tongue slips and he shouts the word, "Excellent, shocking and amazing Gui." Jin quickly reverts to his foolish act, claiming it was a slip of the tongue and laughingly urging his brother to hit him more. The other brothers take advantage of the situation to mock Gui, saying that Jin is enjoying his punches and asking for more. Gui's anger and humiliation grow, and he screams for his death and continues his attack. But Jin was internally happy because this way he could finally understand the parts he couldn't grasp from just reading, realizing that these were the final movements of the techniques. Gui uses another move called the defense-shattering kick, a technique that combines punches and kicks to exploit weaknesses. However, Jin notices that his brother failed to execute it perfectly, leaving himself wide open. Jin seizes this opportunity and delivers a counterattack to Gui, who winces in severe pain. Then Jin falls to the ground, exhausted due to his size. Sun Wuxiong comments that the pig was lucky and moves to attack Jin with the others. Before they can attack, Joki Soil intervenes, calling their actions despicable, and asking how they can attack their injured brother who can barely stand. The brothers immediately back off in confusion, making excuses that they were just checking on their brother's condition. Jin thinks to himself that he too was despicable for letting such fools control him for all those years. Everyone leaves the place, and as soon as they are gone, Jin collapses on the ground again from exhaustion, realizing he must get rid of this excess weight as soon as possible. Jin is surprised by the sudden appearance of his father, who tells him that he has worked hard, and that he is proud of him. Jin sits speechless at these words. His father then confides a personal secret, that out of his 4 marriages, only one was by personal choice, and that he used to think the other marriages were a duty to the clan, but he is no longer sure if that's true now. His father tells Jin he will practice with the sword for a bit as he hasn't done so in a while, and advises him to rest before going back inside. The father begins to demonstrate his sword movements, and Jin immediately recognizes them as the legendary 13 Swords of Sunwoo. Jin understands his father's intention. He is performing a personal demonstration of the 13 sword forms for him, from the first to the last and then back again, with increasing speed each time, to teach him the technique practically. Jin is overwhelmed with a deep sense of gratitude, realizing his father is doing all of this for him. The scene returns to Jin inside the archives, having finished reading all of his ancestors' journals. He notes that they contain valuable ideas and insights, but he doesn't understand them, which is expected since he didn't even understand the basic movements themselves from just reading. As Jin examines one of the journals in the archive, his eyes fall on something strange. The book cover seems thicker than usual on one side. Carefully and with concentration, he uses his fingers to pry open the edge of the thick cover, confirming his suspicion that something is hidden inside. He pulls an old manuscript from the cover and discovers that it describes a fighting style titled the 14th Form. Jin flips the manuscript over to discover a description of the 15th Form on its back. He is utterly shocked as he holds the manuscript, realizing that his clan's technique, which supposedly consists of only 13 swords, may have additional secret forms. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the clan headquarters, Sunwoo Yunha sits before her mirror at night, which reflects her image as she thinks about Joki Soil's beauty. She holds a lock of her hair, looking displeased, and thinks that it just needs to grow a little longer. Suddenly she hears her maids whispering happily, with one telling the other that the 4th young master, Gui, was injured after being hit by the 3rd young master, Jin. The other maid adds more sarcastic details, explaining that Gui was trying to show off in front of Lady Joki, but ended up fainting. The 2 maids burst out laughing, unaware that Sunwoo Yunha has heard everything. Sunwoo Yunha's face suddenly turns into a cold and frightening expression, and she sharply asks her maids what exactly they said, inquiring if it was Jin who caused Gui's injury. The maids confirm the story, trembling with fear. Sunwoo Yunha's anger intensifies as she thinks to herself, how dare he? Later, Soil hands a document to her friend, Chung-yeon, telling her this is the information she requested about the third young master, and that she bought it from local information brokers. Chung-yeon thanks her, and Soil replies that there's no need for thanks between friends. Soil asks about Chung-yeon's sudden interest in the fat young man, admitting she was shocked to see his body. She adds sarcastically that his eyes were barely visible under the layers of fat, to which Chung-yeon calmly replies that she saw him. Soil teases her, saying that Jin looks a bit like the teddy bear Chung-yeon cherishes, and asks if that's the reason for her interest in him. Chung-yeon denies it, explaining that the move Jin used to take down his brother was impressive and sparked her curiosity about his past. Soil expresses her doubt that it was just luck, but admits that Chung-yeon has always had a keen eye for discovering talent. Soil gives in to her friend's strange curiosity, then changes the subject, wondering how Chung-yeon can read with her bangs covering her eyes. She scolds her for hiding her beauty, asking when she will finally move her bangs. Chung-yeon playfully asks if her friend would be happy if she did that, and when Chung-yeon shows her excitement, Soil gently refuses, claiming she would feel jealous if Chung-yeon got more attention. Soil laughs and expresses her happiness with their friendship, and Chung-yeon reciprocates the feeling, saying that Soil is not like the rest of the Joki clan. The next morning, Jin stands ready to depart. His father and Yoonha see him off, and the father advises him to serve well for the honor of the clan and to stay safe. Jin bows respectfully and makes a vow to his father that he, his son, will return after bringing pride and honor to the clan. On the morning of his departure, Jin thanks Yoonha for coming to see him off at this early hour, and she replies that it's the least she can do for her brother who is preparing for a long journey. Yoonha hands him a bundle, explaining that it contains rice balls she made for him herself for the journey. Jin is deeply touched by this gesture and asks if she made them herself, which she confirms, though she can't guarantee they taste good. With a wide smile, Jin thanks her warmly, assuring her that she is the best, and that he will enjoy them. After that, Jin announces his departure, mounting his horse with his escorts and leaving the place under the watchful eyes of his father and Yoonha. A short while after they set off, Jin calls out to one of the escorts who was following him. The escort asks what the matter is, telling him it's not yet time to take a break. Jin realizes this man is the group leader, a wandering warrior named Jang Gang-seung, and notices the anxiety on his face, concluding that he fears Jin will cause trouble and refuse to complete the journey based on his bad reputation. Jin surprises the leader by announcing that he has decided to run from here all the way to Yunnan. When he sees the leader's confusion, he clarifies that he will do it to lose some weight. Jang doubts Jin's ability to run a long distance with such a body, and tells him that while he respects his will, they have a contract, and running will cause a significant delay and financial losses. Jin asks about the fate of his horse. Jang replies that it is a purebred horse. Jin offers the leader to take the horse for himself, wondering if it would fetch a good price when sold. Jang confirms the horse is very valuable, and Jin thinks to himself that they were probably planning to take the horse for free anyway. But Jang surprises Jin with his honesty, admitting that the horse is worth a fortune and its value is far too great for him to take as payment. Jin apologizes for misjudging such an honest man. Jin explains his logic to the leader. He knows he won't get a fair price for the horse at the front, and keeping it might weaken his resolve to train. So, he proposes a mutually beneficial deal. He will give them the horse, and in return, he asks for their help with some matters along the way. Jang looks at Jin with new respect, realizing that the third young master is nothing like the rumors spread about him. Jang agrees to the deal, shaking hands with Jin and vowing that he and his men will do their best to help him as long as he is paid such a high price. Thus, Jin's journey begins by running a distance that takes 3 continuous days, even by horse. Jin knows it will be extremely difficult in his current physical state, but he sees this run as the nourishment that will allow him to be reborn. He renews his resolve to change his life this time, but his body quickly betrays him, and he starts vomiting from sheer exhaustion. One of the escorts asks him worriedly if he is doing this to avoid going, but Jin cannot answer. After catching his breath, he gets up, announcing he has rested enough and is determined to continue. He ends up panting, shocked at how difficult running is for him. After less than 15 minutes of running, Jin completely collapses, feeling like he can't even lift a finger from exhaustion. Suddenly, he feels a hand offering him a handkerchief. He opens his eyes to see Chung-yeon offering him a handkerchief to wipe the sweat from his face. Jin becomes extremely flustered and apologizes for his pathetic appearance in front of her. Chung-yeon asks him how he knew her name, and he replies that he heard Lady Joki mention her name the previous day, and remembered it thanks to his strong memory. She tells him to keep the handkerchief as she has more. Jin takes the handkerchief, confused, as Chung-yeon encourages him to keep up the hard work, and tells him with a smile that she will be one of his supporters. After she leaves, the escorts gather around Jin in amazement, expressing their jealousy that he received a handkerchief from such a beautiful lady. Jin thinks to himself that although her intention might not have been that, he can't deny that the gesture made him feel proud. Motivated by this encouragement, Jin gets up enthusiastically and calls for everyone to continue running, but shortly after he vomits again from exhaustion. The escorts suggest they stop to eat before continuing. It occurred to the escorts that they would have to eat outdoors a lot from now on. They light a fire in the forest and sit down to eat. Jin asks to share their food, and the leader Jang asks him why he isn't eating the food his sister prepared for him. Jin replies with a laugh that she is not a skilled cook, and what she made was inedible. The escorts burst into laughter, joking that whoever marries her is doomed, as they exchange jokes. Jin sinks into dark thoughts, realizing he is not destined to live peacefully with his family. He thinks about Yoonha's actions, which were completely different from what he remembers, and how he had considered her his only family and cherished the looks of concern in her eyes in the past. But he now also remembers the unjustified looks of hatred and contempt he sometimes glimpsed in her eyes and had ignored. Jin realizes the bitter truth. Yoonha hadn't changed. He was the one who was a fool in the past.